The first question a funeral director will ask you is, do you know what kind of arrangements you'd like to make? It seems like an easy question, but if no one close to you has died and you've never thought it through, making final arrangements for yourself or someone you love can quickly become an overwhelming financial adventure. We are very unskilled with final arrangements, but today that will change. Today, I'm going to teach you the basics of burial and cremation, so the next time you interact with a funeral director, you'll have a good idea what basic arrangements will cost. You'll know if you want to be cremated or buried, and you will learn how to gather price information without feeling embarrassed or vulnerable. So get ready to make smart choices and become an informed consumer of burial and cremation costs. Selecting a funeral home should be thought of as a major purchase. I'd like to share a few tips and tricks that will help you gather price information without feeling embarrassed or vulnerable. Let me show you how to comparison shop. You really should be a better informed consumer and collect price information. To do that, I'm going to ask you to contact at least 3 funeral homes and request a general price list. Now, funeral homes are happy to send out this information by mail, and they are required to do it by law, so it's no big deal if you call them and you ask for it. Check out the People's Memorial website. That's peoplesmemorial.org. It's a personal favorite of mine. They have excellent information on funeral home prices for Washington State. You can also take a look at which funeral homes are contracted with People's Memorial. Most of these funeral homes offer lower prices on direct cremation as well as immediate burial. It's a highly informative website. Don't wait for the death to occur before you comparison shop for a funeral home. You'll have more strength and control, plus you'll have a clearer head for business. While this is a highly emotional time, making final arrangements for a loved one, it is also one of the most major purchases that you'll make. So approach it from an educated consumer standpoint. Include your family or friends in your final arrangement plans. If you feel too nervous to call a funeral home, ask one of them to make some calls on your behalf. It'll be easier for a friend or family member to ask direct questions about pricing information. Another trick that reduces stress is to call a funeral home and act as if you're calling for a neighbor, a friend, an aunt, an uncle, whatever comes to mind. Again, it will be so much easier to ask direct financial questions and stammer around if you get nervous if you act as if you're calling on somebody else's behalf. And then finally, don't be afraid to expand your immediate area of consideration. Most funeral homes operate within a 30 to 50 mile radius without charging you more for their services. You don't have to use your neighborhood funeral home. A few extra miles may save you hundreds and possibly thousands of dollars. I called 3 funeral homes and requested a general price list for burial and cremation. I plan to review the price information and then call the most affordable funeral home. I was surprised at the price differences for essentially the same goods and services. This is what I found. This slide represents a cost comparison for a burial with a simple graveside service. Like cremation, there are substantial differences in price for essentially the same products and services. A simple graveside service does not include a church service, embalming, or viewing. Funeral Home A charges $1,895 for a simple graveside service. Funeral Home B charges $2,350, and Funeral Home C charges $2,540. Embalming and formal viewing come with an additional charge. Funeral Home A charges an additional $100. Funeral Home B charges an additional $1,350, and Funeral Home C charges $525 for embalming and viewing. There are after-hour removal charges of $150 at Funeral Homes B and C. Refrigeration is included at Funeral Homes A and B. Funeral Home C charges $75 a day starting on day 6. All 3 funeral homes offer obituary assistance, help with VA paperwork, and the securing of death certificates in their simple graveside service charge. Caskets are an additional charge at all funeral homes. Burial vaults and grave liners are an additional charge.